Welcome to lesson 2. I'm just reviewing 3 chords. There's only 3 chords I played there. D, C, and G. That's it. So each one sounds different just by doing hammer-ons, pull-offs, and walk-ups. It's so easy to do. For instance, the D, C, strum, hammer on, pull off. C, see how easy that is? And for the other one, walk up to C, walked up to D, back to C, then down to G. Playing the guitar is really simple, but those 3 chords sounded so different. I'm using a thumb pick here, but it would have been the same thing with my flat pick here. If I can find it. I had it on my suitcase drum and it just falls right down. Okay, quick review over lesson 1. I hope you've had plenty of time to practice, and I'm assuming you got to a point where you felt comfortable to move up to number 2. Yes, you're my man and woman. So let's review what we've already learned. We learned the E chord, so nice and clean. We also learned how to... Now, did you also notice on my intro, I was starting off in a D. My first was a... That was a D also, but I also moved this shape up. And I walked it down and all the way down the fretboard. And I was in D, so I was ready to launch on off into my song that was in D. So you could do the same thing on A, but that was just a quick review. All right, we also learned our A chord and our C chord. So let's get our whiteboard out here. So the A was... we're going to play with the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger. And we're going to practice, remember, so we could learn to pattern picking. So picking is real important to arpeggiate the chords. That means to hit individual notes is all that means. And then we had the C chord, which we played. It's a 5-string chord like the A was. So, and you've been practicing going back and forth. C to A, C, E, C to E. So you've been practicing that, you got a clean sound, you figured out where the rattles are and where all the muted strings are, and you've got a pretty clear tone, and you're able to go between one chord to the next pretty quickly. Today we're going to learn 3 new chords, and we'll almost have we'll have one more lesson that's going to have a B in it, which I'm not showing that right now because it's a movable shape, and we're not going to go into that right now, but it's an important chord. Today we're going to learn the G chord, the D chord, and the F chord. 3 chords, so we're going to have 6, and that'll be all of our major chords except for B, and again, that's a separate situation that we're going to worry about in a little while. So let's look at the G. We've got a 6-string chord. Remember, the nut of a guitar is right here on the top, and we're going to pretend this is the nut. The zeros are open strings, so we don't have to have a finger on those at all. This is the 1st string. The 6th string is 6 times bigger than the first one. It's not really, but let's pretend it is for remembering. Our 3rd finger is going to go on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. Our 2nd finger is going to go on the 5th string 2nd fret, and our 4th finger on the 1st string, a 3rd fret, and it's going to sound like this. So be working on that shape. You might want to pause for a minute. get it sounding good. Uh-oh. What happened there? It's muted. I see. I've got my third finger on the 6th string. It was touching my 5th string, so I need to move it up. I didn't have my bear claw good enough, or I didn't have my bends on my fingers good enough. But now I've got it, so. Uh-oh. I got a buzz. Oh, that means I need to push it a little harder. So you practice. Strumming, you can strum it too. Our easiest strum patterns is just to get us started on strum patterns, which comes in a couple of lessons. We're going to spend the whole lesson on strum patterns. So it's going to go down, up, down, up, down. You're going to be moving your foot. Always tap your foot. Now I was playing with a little suitcase drum, but it's the same thing. If I'm playing, my foot had better be tapping because I'm not going to be on time if it's not. But my hand and my foot are coordinated. As my foot goes down, my hand goes down, and my foot goes up, my hand goes up. Now I'm going to catch a couple strings going up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now most of everything you're going to be playing for a long time is going to be in 4, also called common time or 4/4. So if your conductor or your team leader says we're in 4, that means there's 4 beats per measure, and we're going to be covering all this later. Whereas right now I'm just trying to get you up and running songs as quickly as possible. All this ties in, but we can't throw too much at you at first. It's most important that you get a clean sound from each chord and be able to go from one chord to the next. That's the biggest challenge, and once you do that, you're going to have a lot of muscle memory built into your left hand and your right hand. So everything else that we do after this is going to be much easier because you've now trained your hand. You know, you got to walk before you can run, but now you've got your hand muscle memory worked in. So the G is going to be. Now you'll notice the 5th string is circled with a 2nd finger. I don't play that normally, the 5th string, because it sounds a little different. Here it is without the 5th string. I'm muting it with my 3rd finger. I want that sound this time. Now, you can't hear it anymore. It's because the strings are so much louder than that muted string, you're not going to hear it. So played with the 5th string, without it, without. I prefer without, not playing the 5th string because it's too much bass just for my ear. But I do need to play it sometimes if I want to revoice the G. If I'm doing something, that gives me an additional. I have 2 voices for the G. So remember, a voice. There's G's all over the place. Every chord is all over the fretboard. So that's just a different voice, and I'm going to show you why those are important sometimes and why they're not important sometimes. So we've got the G down. We play it with the 5th string and without. Play it both ways. Now for the D is a more difficult chord. It's a 4-string chord. You'll notice the first finger's on the 3rd string 2nd fret. 2nd fret. The 3rd finger is on the 1st string 2nd fret, and the 2nd finger is on the 2nd string 2nd fret. So it's going to be. Work on that. Maybe take a snapshot of it. You can also play it as a half bar, B-A-R-R-E, where I've got my 1st finger pushed down. Then I put my 2nd finger and I put it on the 2nd string on the 3rd fret. And you practice it. And try not to hit your 5th or your 6th string. Okay, so there's 2 ways to play that, and the reason I play it like that most of the time is quicker. See how quick I can get to it faster than if I go. Can't play it as fast that way. So I just bar it, half bar, and like this. Now the third one is an F. It's a movable shape. Here's a full F. But we're not going to play it like that. We're just going to play 4 strings. Because otherwise you got 3 Fs in there. Come on, give me a break, it's too much. So we've got our first finger, a third bar. That means the first 2 strings are covered with your first finger. And then you got your second finger on the 3rd string. And then your 3rd finger on the 4th string of the 3rd fret. Right here. So you don't play your 5th or your 6th string. You can practice it. So practice between your chords. To A, to C, to G, to D, to E. It doesn't have to sound musical, but we do need to get in between those chords as quickly as possible. Now, I'm going to have lots of supplemental videos up on this. I'm going to have each chord a supplemental video. Be sure that you subscribe, that you get notifications that I put these videos up. I should have them up as I get them. Every one of these is going to be a separate video. If you're struggling with one chord, you just go to the supplemental video, like the A, and we'll work on just the A, and I'll show you some other cool things about it that I haven't showed you in this video. Okay, that's going to be it for today, and stay tuned for lesson 3 coming up.